Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Ms. Miller,
Here.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Present.
Mr. Etherly,
Here.
Ms. Davis,
Here.
Dr. Miller. Ms. Harris won't be with us this evening. She had a medical appointment in Little Rock.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. There are good things happening in health. I want to tell y'all, for y'all who don't know, we have well number 11 is up and running full throttle. So I want to thank everybody who's involved to help us get well 11 up and running. This is a good thing for our city that we have provided a well. This administration, this body have worked together to get us a well. So, and it's just one of many. So the same work we put in for that one, I hope we can continue to work together to bring great things to Helena. I appreciate you all for your hard work and dedication to support me and the agenda that I have to make sure that we make Helena a safe place that people want to come, live, and shop. And I invite anybody who's looking for a place to live, we're open. We're taking anybody who's looking for a house, want to build a house, business, we're open for you. So by us getting the things that we need, cleaning up properties, our police department, our fire department, our street and sanitation department, we're slow, but we're working toward a good progress. So I want to thank you all. We have had a rough year. This administration have a rough start, but through God's grace and mercy, He saw us through the tough times, and we're studying, accomplishing things bit by bit, piece by piece. So I want to encourage y'all to continue to work with me as we continue to make Helena a great place to live and where people want to come and shop and enjoy, because it's getting better every day. So I want to just tell you all, thank you all, and we got more things to come. Chief of Staff, are you ready?
Oh, well, certainly I'm ready. Ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, members of the administration, general public, certainly this is our regular council meeting, October the 22nd, 2024. We have an agenda with numerous guests listed. They're primarily dealing with our water department. And what I'm going to suggest you do is that we deal with the other things we can go through really rapidly and get those out of the way, and then come back and deal with our guests and the water that may make things flow a little bit quicker. Yes, sir, Mr. City Attorney.
Can we get to the watershed resolution so that we can get that done? Because they need that put in that packet as soon as possible.
They needed what?
The watershed resolution.
What about it?
I said, can we go to that as soon as possible?
Yeah, well, that's one of those things we could do quickly that I was trying to refer you to. It's listed as starting on page 127 of this big packet. And some of this stuff we didn't get until Sunday and yesterday. And so we would have gotten it to you sooner if we could have. But the watershed resolution essentially says that you're going to agree the sponsor of the watershed project, where we're getting funding from the federal government in the amount of like $12 million, that you'll pay the administrative cost and the maintenance cost after it's completed. There's some estimates in here. As soon as I can get to them. I'm doing it on my phone. So there's 128 is the resolution. But there's an email from Kelly Eubanks on 129 where she says the local sponsors share of costs. The city of Helena-West Helena is responsible for O&M costs, that's operating and maintenance, and project administrative costs. And the annual O&M is a total of $21,000 for areas 1, 3, and 5. The non-structural O&M for area 6 does not have an annual O&M cost. The total combined annual spend is less than $25,000. Those costs that the city will incur to maintain the implemented projects. Then the administrative costs, the city is responsible projected to be about $48,000 for structural work in areas 1, 3, and 5, and non-structural work in 6. These costs include land rights, easement, costs of permitting. We anticipate these costs will be lower since we intentionally focus on placing the projects within the easements and rights of way. And she goes on, but that's basically the money. And those administrative costs will be incurred over a period of 2 years. So the $48,000 is about $24,000 each year. And then the operating and maintenance wouldn't kick in until that project is completed. And that'd just be for us to keep it up with like mowing, keeping the ditches free of debris and stuff like that, stuff that we ought to already be doing. But we have to agree to do this or we won't get the $12 million. We also need the city of Elaine to agree to do their part because this water flows south. And we need Phillips County to agree to do their part. And we need it done tonight because they got a deadline on November the 1st, by which once you pass the resolution, they're going to send it upstream for approval. Then it comes back down and then they submit it. And they got to get all that done by November the 1st. Of course, there's a hurry to get these things done because there's a concern that there might be a change in your federal administration because you got an election on November the 5th. So you want to obligate the money before the administration change, or the new administration may de-obligate the money and spend it somewhere else.
And to add, Elaine is having a special call city council meeting tonight to address their watershed, the same issue that we are talking about tonight.
Right. So if Elaine and the county don't do their part, it doesn't necessarily hurt us in the immediacy of this project. It just leaves that money on the table. They don't get it. And if we know they wasn't going to obligate it, we could have obligated it up here. But we don't have enough time to turn it around and obligate it. So we're hoping that they will go on and obligate those funds.
Refresh my memory, because does this have anything at all to do with, you remember when the Black Mayors Association?
Yes,
That's what this is.
That's what this is?
This is one half of it. Because there's two watersheds kind of run side by side. And for lack of a better way of describing it, this one is the Helena side, and there's a West Helena side too that's done by different engineers. The resolution covers both, but the photos and stuff that you have in here is just for the Helena side. I hadn't received this stuff from the West Helena. But once I do, I'll share it with you. But there's some photos that Kelly Eubank sent, and there's I can't think of the other guy's name, Keith, that's with the other consulting company. And so she got a whole slideshow that I could go through if y'all wanted to, but you got pictures of it there in your packet.
Okay, so just walk me through real briefly, because I know we don't have a lot of time. There was some money, if I remember correctly, that they got. Is that tied in any way with any of this?
That's the money we're trying to obligate to spend. The money was, I guess, designated to the Black Mayors Association as the, I guess, chief sponsor. And then they were allocating it to the various cities throughout these areas. And for us to get this project, because we went through the planning, comment phase, and all of those different phases where you had those public hearings. You've gone through that kind of in a hurry. And you're at a point now where you got to submit the plan so that they can get the money obligated or funded to go on and do the project. Because still it'll be a couple of years before they get it done. But if we don't have them obligated and you change administrations, it may just go out the window altogether.
So this is our total buy-in is the 49.
49 is going to be administrative costs as it's being built, what you may pay for easements or rights of ways. And they said they tried to keep that to a minimum because they're going to do it in already existing easements or rights of way. So they're giving you the high number. They expect it to be much lower than that. But that ongoing maintenance, about $25,000 a year, a couple $1,000 a month, they expect that to be pretty accurate for those 4 different areas that we'll be maintaining. Number City Attorney, you got access to the resolution?
To the resolution that's in your packet?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Resolution, Madam Clerk, what resolution is this?
14.
Resolution 24, resolution authorizing the city of Arkansas to adopt the Lick Creek and Long Lake Bayou, Little B Bayou watershed plan agreements. Whereas the city of Helena-West Helena, hereafter city is a municipal corporation duly authorized and existing under the laws of the state of Arkansas. Whereas the city council is the legislative body of the city, whereas the city desires to create and maintain a healthy watershed that provides the critical services such as clean drinking water, productive fishery areas, and outdoor recreation that support the economy and the environment and a healthy quality of life. Whereas an agreement has been signed by the United States Department of Agriculture, Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRCS, and the Arkansas Black Mayors Association, ABMA, for the planning, design, and construction of watershed projects under the Watershed Flood Prevention Operation Program. And whereas the city is one of 19 cities in the Delta, including this program, receive federal infrastructure investment and job Act funding, whereas the city is committed to carry out the works improvement to protect, develop, and utilize the land and water resources in the watersheds to prevent flooding, whereas the city is in dire need of flood prevention resources and assistance, and whereas the city agrees to adhere to all applicable guidelines of the Watershed Flood Prevention Operation Program, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council, City of Helena-West Helena, Arkansas, that the City Council of Helena-West Helena, Arkansas authorized the mayor to sign the Lick Creek, Big Creek, and Long Lake Bayou, Little B Bayou watershed plan agreements on behalf of the City of Helena-West Helena. This resolution was passed and adopted by the City Council on the 22nd day of October 2024. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When did you become aware we had to have this resolution?
So we had to have what?
When did you become aware that we were obligated to do this resolution?
I got it over the weekend.
I got it last week.
You got it last week?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I got it over the weekend, and the engineer called me Sunday, trying to confirm that I'd received it.
Yeah.
And then she emailed some other stuff, those pictures and things you got either late Sunday night or early Monday morning.
Right, they've had several watershed meetings throughout the city, and as the chief of staff has explained, in order for the city to make sure that it is still in line to receive the funds for the watershed, we must first adopt this.
And they just notified us of it. How long do we have before we can approve this resolution?
We need to adopt it tonight because the issue is, what's St. Columbia, is that they have to have a packet by November 1st.
The point I'm trying to make is they dropped the bomb on us the last minute.
Well, St. Columbia, they've been having meetings with the watershed.
Wait a minute.
We've had numerous watershed meetings and tried to inform us. They've invited you to all of them.
They came here and did a presentation and they had
They didn't tell us
several
about
meetings
this.
at, they had several
They did?
meetings at Central High School open to for the public, for the county. Very informative, and it's going to help a lot of areas, like Helena Crossing, that floods a lot of areas in the city.
The practical issue is watersheds, as Chief of Staff said, it's approximately $12 billion to help for drainage within the city and within these. I don't understand what the delay is in trying to.
I think it's dropping the bomb of help, not the bomb of burden in St. Columbia. I think it's something to really help the city. That's why Elaine is having a special call meeting tonight, because they want all of us to do this at the same time. So this is not something that, ooh, I got you. It's, ooh, I want to help you. So $12 million will help this area. So, I mean, it's not one of those kind of games or anything. So I don't want you to feel like that somebody's trying to play a game or just slide something to you. This is to help the flood in these areas. So
Yeah.
So can I? Is there a motion? So second, Ms. Davis moved to adopt resolution 14. Is there a second? Second. Mr. Anthony seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia?
Come on, Bill.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
5 yes.
All right. So what I was trying to do is start at the bottom. If you go to page 193, real quickly, on page 193 through whatever that is, it's just 3 pages. Those are photos of Meadowbrook. And so the construction company has began building 13 new homes out there. 3 of them on West Street will be duplexes, and the 10 on North Meadowbrook will be single-family dwellings, and they're going to look similar to the ones that are already there. And the city attorney is working with them to see if they can perhaps address, see if they can perhaps address the drainage issue. I don't know how successful we'll be on that, but there's some things, the mayor and I walked it off. There's some things that perhaps we can do to help the water get out quicker, because what's happening, the water is not draining quickly enough, and it floods the street to the point where sometimes people need a boat to get out of Meadowbrook, right in that area by where Miss Vivian Gale Bland Fitzgerald lives, right in that area. So those photos just show basically work going on those houses in Meadowbrook. So then going back to page 190, there's a resolution transferring a fire pumper to Lakeview, the city of Lakeview.
190.
And Ms. Sandy may have more information on this than I do, but
I don't have a resolution here. It says resolution 190.
well, that's the beginning,
Page
that's the
190.
tab, but you
Yeah.
turn the page, it'll be 191 maybe.
Yeah, I see mine.
About this fire truck. Chief Brown has spoken to me, council.
Maybe not, I'm sorry.
No, I don't
You
see
see the
one.
vote.
He had spoken to me about this truck. We hadn't used it in years, and he wants to help Lakeview out in case Lakeview have a fire. So he's wanting to know, can we donate the truck to Lakeview?
We can't donate it to
we
most-
something we don't
donate to
use anymore. To all the charge of property, so it'll come to a vote. But I'm in full agreements with him to let Lakeview have this truck.
So as I read this, the 1974 House pumper, it's a Ford cab. VIN number ended in 714149, and it's got model numbers and all of that. It's valued at between $4,000 and $5,000, which, in light of what fire trucks cost, that's not a lot of money. Your next resolution will kind of remind you that you're going to approve the financing again for the new fire truck you bought. They want an up-to-date resolution. I think the resolution was from 2022. No. So the question at this point, are you willing to donate this old pumper to Lakeview? Or do you want to scrap it in some other fashion? Well, that's basically where it is.
So would the body like to take action to donate this fire truck to Lakeview? Dr. Miller says
Yes.
yes.
I would like to.
Ms. Miller seconds the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
5 yes.
All right, I'm gonna do better this time, Mr. St. Columbia. Page 188 is a resolution for the financing of the new fire pumper that we received earlier this year, $389,465. I believe there was a resolution passed in 2022 authorizing this, but the finance company wants an updated resolution, making sure you still approve it. And it has to be, the contract with the financing has to be approved after the resolution. So we need to do the resolution and then they'll sign the contract. But we have the fire truck. It's the new one with the black top on it.
Right, and essentially in 2022, we ordered the truck. Now it's here, and they want us to go ahead and do it so we can pay for it.
They want to do what?
Adopt these so we can go ahead and pay for it.
Okay.
There's a note on the bottom on page 189. It reads, this first resolution as adopted and approved on June 7, 2022, due to the significant time delay in completing documents, PNC Bank requested that the governing body update the approval to reflect the calendar year 2024.
So it's been so long, I had to update.
Correct.
Right. So the funders are asking you to
But this-
reauthorize
this truck
what
here.
you've already authorized.
Right.
So this money will come out of their fund. Is there a motion? 15? Mr. Anthony moves to adopt resolution number 15. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Davis second the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Dr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia?
Yes.
Ms. Davis? 5 yes.
All right, continuing to go backwards to page 185, there's a memo from me as the chief of staff to you all in city administration regarding the Arkansas ABC arrest of a city employee. It technically was a former city employee, and we want to make sure it was clear to you all and for the record is that this man was hired. I guess he left employment with Green Light Dispensary. We knew nothing of an investigation or anything of that sort. So he was hired as a police officer after he left employment there. The investigation took place. A warrant for his arrest came down. He was told he had the warrant for his arrest, and then he resigned. But we didn't hire somebody who already had these charges pending. So I just want the record to be clear about that. And Ms. Coates and Chief Bell can both validate what I've shared with you. But that was the whole purpose of putting that in there. The article kind of says that, but it's not as clear as I've articulated it for you. Going backwards again, there's a thing that I'm going to handle very delicately, but it was a 911 complaint that was made on Facebook, and the family thought that the city had done something wrong about they had a gentleman who they believed that called 911, and either nobody answered or nobody responded. Is what the family believed that happened. And so you can read the dialogue back and forth from Facebook. But as it turns out, the 911 coordinator gave us a itemized log of what took place according to the 911 records. And that picture, if I can get a page number, seems like it's 183. That picture is on page 183, and it basically says that the call came in at 2:11, and Pafford was contacted by the county communications at 2:12, and they left their place at 2:15. They arrived at the house at 2:30, back to the hospital at 3:02 a.m., and after that, the patient was in the hospital for a couple of hours before they called the coroner, because the patient did in fact die. And I'm saying the patient, there's some names in the documents that you have, but I just wanted to make sure you understood that, because they posted an article from Memphis television station about phone service and all of that, and thought the phones were disconnected, but it had nothing to do with 911. The city does not manage 911 at all. And so that's kind of why you got all of that in your packet. I want you to be armed with the information. And unless you have a question about that, I was going to go on to the water company invoice approvals. And they start at page 151. There's one for $7,300 for Delta Plumbing, and he itemized the leaks that he worked on. And then there's one for 7,300. Wait, what was the first one? One is $7,200 for Delta Plumbing, and then there's one for $7,300 for Quarterbone Plumbing. And they both itemized what they've done for the water department. And those are for leaks.
That's on 151.
Yes, sir. 151 and 52 is Delta Plumbing, and then 153 and 54 is Quarterbone. This looks like the work ended September 26th, and the bill is September the 29th. On Quarterbone, on Delta Plumbing, the work is from August the 19th to September the 14th. And the bill, he got a due date of October the 30th, so I would guess he billed it net 30th. So I guess he billed it October the 1st, or September the 30th.
Delta Plumbing, $7,200. Boy. So we're looking at two invoices here. Delta Plumbing, 7,200, is that right?
Yes, sir. Delta Plumbing, 7,200.
Waterbomb for 7,300.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
They're the only two.
Yes, sir. That's all that I checked with the accounts payable person, and that's all that she had for the council to approve at this
And that's
point.
from
You need a motion?
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion in a second?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make that.
Dr. Miller makes the motion to pay these two invoices for the water department. Ms. Miller seconds the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Ms. Miller, Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes,
5 yes.
All right, it's continuing backwards. We got 10 Carver invoice at 125, and this is a sales quotation. And this is for the repair of what's called Pump Station 3. And the pump station, of course, you know, is sewer, and it lifts the waste and pushes it down the line further. And so this is repair work down there at the Valley Drive is where Pump Station 3 is. So it's down behind Nell Miller, all the way down in the corner. And actually it's probably adjacent to either Jenny or Proctor Street. But when that one is not functioning, waste comes up, and it's a lady lives right next door to it. So when it's not functioning, the waste comes up in her bathtub.
Okay.
Yeah, so the quote is $12,929.39. And we just kind of need either to put you on notice that we're going to incur this or get your permission to go on and incur it. But I don't know that there's a whole lot of room to go around. We got to fix the pumps.
So if it's okay, can we have permission to go ahead and fix this to this pump station? So is there a motion to go ahead and Ms. Miller, Ms. Miller makes the motion to approve the 12,000 to have the station fixed. Mrs. Davis seconds the motion. During discussion, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
5 yes.
Right, and just one other note, it says on the face of the document, the lead time, 3 or 4 weeks in getting that equipment in. All right, right above this, there's a report. The mayor has the department heads doing weekly reports. And so instead of doing a water update, we put Mr. Rose's weekly report in here. He got it dated October the 18th. And I just highlight in the maintenance department on page 121, he says in August we fixed 64 leaks, September 41 leaks, October 20 leaks. It gives you kind of a list of the remaining leaks and some of the things that are going on in the department. So if you look over that, and the next time we meet, if you have any questions, we can go through those if you'd like. But that's just, I thought, a quick way to give you an update.
I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
And then on pages, it look like 117, 18, and 19, those are photos of our new well, number 11, that the mayor introduced at the beginning of the meeting. We're still doing some minor work out there. So you see here, a concrete pad has been poured around the well, and Rowan Construction is building the access road. So that's what the gravel is. So if you headed north from the Boys and Girls Club toward McDonald's, at the end of the softball field, you turn right into there, and then you go to the end of that gravel road, and we start a new road from there around the ballpark fence to get over to the well. That's the easement that we have in, we got those documents in here. I think the city attorney emailed them to you too, but those photos is just showing you some of what's going on out there.
But there'll be a fence around the well. Is that right? There'll be a
Yes,
fence?
once they get the road completed and finished doing concrete, we're gonna do a fence around the 30 by 30 piece of property that we got, about 8 foot tall. Mr. Wyden and I have been talking to various people about getting that done. And I believe he may be able to get Hardeman, whoever's taking his place, to get it done, but we're just not sure yet. You did allocate, I think, $4,000 or $5,000 for the fence. We hope that's enough. All right, and looks like we're back to water stuff. I'm at 115, but I want you to kind of glance at this before we bring Mr. Meadows up. I think Mr. Meadows will be next. If I've skipped anything, we can just come back to it later. But this is our list of the top users in terms of gallons of water per month. And it's on page 115. It would be the Helena side, and 116 would be West Helena side. And you can put in your calculation and see how your rates might impact any of those users. And some of the high users may surprise you as you look through that. But of course, United Initiators is the highest in Helena. And this is just a 1 month look. It's not necessarily averaged out. It's got a 12-month average as well to the side of it. So United Initiators is a little over 1.2 million gallons a month, and they average 1.1 million. Phillips County Courthouse is our neighbors across the street here. 639,000 gallons. That may have been when they had the flood, because they averaged 246,000 gallons. It's still significant use. Helena-West Helena School Central, they got several different billings for the school system, but at Central, they use 489,700 gallons, but the yearly average is only 178,000. So I don't know if they had a leak, or if they refilled that tank that they got out there, or whatever it is. But this also shows you that the school is now on Helena water. When they built the new school, they put it on Helena water. The old school was on West Helena water. why and how, I don't know, but that's what they did.
The tank out there at Central, how much water does that tank hold?
My understanding is 250,000 to 300,000 gallons.
Yeah. It's primarily for fire suppression.
It's
Right.
for fire protection, I know.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah. But it holds quite a bit of water. So I'm gonna skip down to West Helena and just go over a few of those, just so you see it. The top use in West Helena is Boys and Girls Club, 994,700 gallons. That's an aberration, it appears, because their monthly average is 85,000 gallons. Imperial United, out on Highway 49, 425,000 gallons. Montage United, 400,000 gallons. DeSoto School, 347,000. West Helena Housing, 318,000. Kip School, 270,000. And Crystal Williams, 227,000 gallons. That's out on Road 277. So it seems like whomever this person is had a leak, because their average is only 31,000 gallons a month, but they had 227,000 gallons in this particular month. And that's for an address that's residential. Let's just say that. So that's kind of why I put this in here so you can see it. Walmart Supercenter, 208,000 gallons. They average 121,000 gallons. West Helena House, 164,000 gallons at this particular location. They average 159,000, so that's about right. So those are your high users. And so at this point, if y'all have any questions about that list, or if you need time to look at it, whatever, just let me know. But next I would call Mr. Meadows. He has a presentation he wants you to hear as you consider adjusting the rates.
I appreciate you sending that to us on email. I got it earlier, this list.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I see one of our properties is on there, and I'm thinking, what Dell's question said, I think that's probably a leak.
Oh, it may, I'm not looking at it right now, but it may be. Is it higher than the average?
Well, yeah, because it's an old historic home, and I bet you it's probably a leak.
Yeah,
That's my thought, but I could be wrong.
yeah. But the guys can go out there and run a test on a laptop, iPad, and it basically was, as I understand it and how I interpret it, is there's not a point when you go to zero, you got to leak. There should be a point in the day when you have zero water usage.
Just call it water company.
Yeah, yeah, and that's in Mr. Sims or Mr. Thomas out to do that evaluation for you. Anything else before we bring Mr. Meadows up? Now, Mr. Meadows starts at the beginning of your packet, around page 4 or 5, I think. He's the first agenda item. And in fairness to Mr. Meadows, he sent us a draft, and it's in there, and he sent us an updated draft, and it's in there too. So they both are in there, and he can tell you which one of them he's going to present. But they're both in there. All right. You come forward. Did we get the video file with that? You are? Okay. Do you need the time to sit in?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna address the other thing first, and then I'll get to the.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I got two things I want to talk to you guys about. Again, kind of out of my comfort zone, speaking in front of people, but try to do the best I can here. It's been mentioned quite a few times that, the state of West Helena's water system, it didn't get there overnight. It was due to, just years of neglect, basically. And Helena is pretty well going to wind up in the same boat if we don't start to address, its needs. So what I hadn't heard it talked about, and I think it needs to be discussed and considered. And we've got two separate water systems, Helena and West Helena. They're both managed as one. And so any rate adjustment made is going to affect both Helena and West Helena customers alike. So I think it's only fair and right and financially sound to to take a certain amount of the funds from these two loans that we're applying for and trying to get to address the critical infrastructure needs for Helena as well, to keep it from winding up in the same boat. I don't have an answer for what that percentage should be. West Helena is in the most dire need, that's without question. But I think whenever we have the engineer come in to work up a design plan for West Helena, we should have him look at Helena as well and let him kind of tell us where we might could place a certain amount of those funds. And then from there, decide how much we can commit to Helena. Otherwise, 5 years down the road, we're going to be looking at, another $27 million in loans to try to fix Helena.
So Mr. Meadows,
Yeah.
That's actually what we're doing. This administration is we're trying to work on both sides. The engineer is looking at the Helena side.
I hadn't heard it talked about, so
but you're right. That's the route we're going, because both of them are in dire straits. So we're trying to ensure that the engineer is looking at the Helena side now. So that's something. But you're correct. That's the way we're going.
Okay, so we're gonna be able to commit a certain amount of those funds, once we decide or once we figure out what the needs or most immediate needs for Helena will be.
Possibly.
If
Helena,
if I may be more specific, may I address? When we met with the Department of Health and had a hearing about consent administrative order, we have two separate consent administrative orders from the Department of Health giving us directives to correct certain actions, certain articles immediately in Helena and in West Helena, with both systems.
Okay.
And so both are being addressed with the application. I met with the engineer today and he's still formulating a work order. He's trying to get some plans done. He met with me and he talked to the Department of Health and he talked to Mr. Coclaser, and he's working through trying to do the plans, and it includes both systems because there are issues with both systems in the state. Arkansas Natural Resources as well as Department of Health, they both are aware of issues with both systems and they want us to work on them simultaneously. So any application we would have would include both portions of the water system, but also not just water, sewer. So really there are four systems because you have water and sewer on each side.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Sounds great. So my next item on the agenda, I've got a water and sewer rate proposal. It's not just a rate change that I'm proposing, but a rate structure change to move from a linear rate to what's called an increasing block rate. And it's a type of rate structure that's more commonly used these days. Cities have been moving away from the rate structure that we currently have for probably the past decade to an increasing block rate structure. And I shared the file with all of the council members. I don't know if how much you guys were able to look at it, but if I may, I'd like to show you here and address any questions or anything you may have. But with the calculator that I have.
Hold on a second.
Yes, sir.
Page 13. Everybody got page 13.
13.
Yes, sir. They got a printed copy.
Oh, okay. All right.
I put a extension cord where you can turn that where they can see it, because the one right here can probably see this.
All right, guys.
Don't turn it too far. What's Monday? Can they still see that on video? Is that good for everybody?
Get this on the, yeah, this will work. There we go. All right. So with the increasing block rate structure, you can adjust the rates for, you got your 0 to 1,000, 1,001 to 4,000. So you'll pay a different rate for each block of usage. And by doing that, you can, we can get, say, our 4,000 gallon usage bill to the $27 number, which is what we would need for to meet the MHI minimum requirements to be able to apply for loan forgiveness. And all of these numbers, everything in the light blue, they're all you can edit those. They're all adjustable, and any changes that you make to the rates will directly impact your total revenue. Total revenue, I've got calculated the same way that it was in the rate study. I've got the average number of each type of user, your residential, commercial, and wholesale, and the number of active customers. And I use those numbers to calculate the yearly revenue. Got it broke down like per type, your water and sewer for each one. And then, of course, the total. Don't know what the rates will be for your $16 million loan, but assuming that it's the same as the $11 million, a 20-year loan with a 4% interest rate, you're going to be looking at roughly $1.1 million per year. So that's just kind of a guesstimate. And again, being in the light blue, that can all be changed and see the direct impact on your bottom line. But you can with the rates that I currently have set right now, we meet the minimum requirement for the MHI with the 4,000 gallons. And if you change that, it'll directly impact your what the bill would be for each type of customer here. But with these current rates, we keep our 4,000 gallon usage customers to a minimum, while also meeting the DSR requirements, even with the $16 million loan that we haven't gotten yet. And so with these rates, you would wind up at the end of the year with a $1.4 million surplus.
Mr. Meadows,
Yes, sir.
I know you're talking to council, and the council has been listening to Mr. Conclaser, the chief of staff, and others, and they've been steeped in this material. But for the sake of our listening audience, can you explain what rates you're discussing with the public while they're listening?
While they're what now?
The public is listening to you.
Yes, sir.
And you're having a conversation. It's really a closed conversation in the sense of you're talking to the city council, and the city council is aware of what you're saying, and they're reading it. But the public, you're moving it up and down, and they may not be following what you're saying, is what I was saying.
I do apologize. I'm not sure.
But what I'm saying is, you said with these rates, what are the rates that you're saying?
Okay, well, these are everything that's in this light blue. This is the rate table. This table, the first table here, is the water rates. And as you see, I've got the different blocks for residential first, then commercial, and then wholesale. So for a residential customer, if you utilize 4,000 gallons of water, you'll be billed $8 for the first 1,000. And then for the next 3,000 gallons, you'll be billed $6.50 per each 1,000 gallons in that 1,001 to 4,000 gallon range. If you go over the 4,000 gallons, for the 4,001 to 9,000 gallon usage, for each 1,000 gallons in that block of usage, you would pay $7.50 per 1,000 gallons. And it just increases with each block. So 9,001 to 15,000 gallons for each 1,000 gallons in that range, you would be billed $10 per 1,000 gallons. Everything above 15,000 would be $16 per 1,000 gallons. And then you've got the same rate structure, different rates, of course, but the same type of structure for your commercial and your wholesale. And then you've also got the same rate structure for your sewer rates for your residential, commercial, and wholesale. Now, I've got the first two blocks for sewer and water. They're both the same for residential customers, and that's for the sake of keeping both of them at the over the $27 for 4,000 gallons. And by doing it this way, you can really dial in and get that number where you want it for any amount of usage that you're looking for. In this case, it's the 4,000 gallons, and then you can ensure that we get the revenue that's required to meet all of our other needs from the other blocks.
Okay, Mr. Meadows.
Yes, ma'am.
So let me ask you to do me a favor. I want you to walk, I want you to pretend with me. Let's say in my home, I used 9,000 gallons.
Okay.
Let's just say, okay. So for that first 0 to 1,000, that's gonna be $8.
Correct.
Then for that 1 to 4,000 block, because that's 3,000 more gallons over the one,
Correct.
that's gonna be three times $6.50,
Correct.
okay?
Added to the $8.
Added to that $8.
Correct.
Then, because I went over 4 by another, I'll just say 5, y'all help me with my math. But it would be 5 times the $7.50, right?
Correct.
Okay, so 5 times $7.50. So I would add the $8 plus say that 3 times $6.50. Let's just say, I know it's not right, but $19. And then I would add another $35 for that 4 to 9 block. So I know that's not accurate, y'all, but I'm just saying. So that would be, so that's for water alone, let's say roughly $62.
Pretty close. Yes, it would actually. I've got it. I put the 9,000 in here, and that actually you can see the direct impact on each customer type with that amount of usage, and it would come out to $65.
Okay, so now,
And if you scroll down to here, that same usage with the July rate would have been $63.92. The August rate would have been $165. These are combined, by the way, water and sewer. I'm sorry. So with the July rate would have been $63.92 combined for water and sewer. The August rate, the one that's on moratorium currently, would have been $165.15. And with this proposed rate, it would be $130.
okay, now, what we just got through walking through though was just for water. Or was
Well,
that
these
water?
numbers here are combined.
No, I mean, let's go back up.
Okay.
So what I was just asking about, that's strictly water though.
Correct.
Like I hadn't said it, okay,
Yeah. So it's
but now,
65 for water, and it'd be 65 for sewer, with the 9,000 gallons usage.
okay. So that's $9,000 water, I mean, 9,000 gallons of water.
Mhm.
And so that's calculating 9,000 gallons of sewer use?
Correct.
Water usage too.
Correct.
But
Yes.
theoretically, we probably would use 9,000 gallons of water for sewer, or would
I think our average usage for a residential customer is 5,475 gallons.
okay, so we would calculate that and then add it on to there. Okay.
Yep.
That
And
makes sense.
if you wanted to change any rates, right? If those rates don't work, so to speak, say if we wanted to go down to sewer and we decide, all right, $7.50 for that third block, let's say that's too much. You want to make it $6. You see a direct change not only on your revenue, but you also see a direct change right here on what you would be billed.
So for a customer like myself, if we go with what your suggestion is, then at 9,000 gallons of both, we would be looking at like $130 bill or so. I mean, roughly.
I think it
Like
was
100, well, it'd be less than that, 124.
130.
Okay.
And like I say, these rates can all be adjusted. This is just kind of a base rate that I come up with to satisfy the more important needs, like the MHI factor, as well as the DSR, the debt service ratio, to make, just making sure that the revenue is high enough to cover not only the loan that we've already been approved for, but the loan that we're going to be seeking as well. So
So that's taking into account everything that we've been asked, been told that we needed to do to satisfy everything.
correct. And utilizing the information that's available in the rate study. Yep. Utilizing the same same formulations that was used in that to come up with the yearly revenue, all of that.
Did you factor in sanitation?
No, this is just water and sewer. No.
So it would have been 130 for both. For the water and sewer.
With these rates like they are right now, yes.
Yeah, like if you did 9,000 each. Most people don't use $9,000 of sewer, do they?
This, in order to keep the 4,000 gallon usage at the, over the $27 mark, you can start adjusting rates right here. So if you wanted to bring them down, now that's going to impact your revenue. But you can start adjusting these rates from this block on, and it won't affect your 4,000 gallon usage. So if you wanted to bring the 4,001 to 9,000 gallon block down, say in both of them, and then go back up. Well, and that'll bring your usage down for your 9,000 gallon usage, or for your 4,001 to 9,000 gallon, but it won't affect your 1,001 to 4,000 gallon usage cost.
So really, it's that 4,000 and under block that we have to be most careful with, right? In terms of meeting the
minimum requirements
minimum
for the MHI to be able to apply for loan forgiveness, correct? So we can get, but by doing it this way, you can get that number pretty precise, right where you need it to be, and then make any adjustments necessary for other usage. Basically, it may sound insensitive in a way, maybe, I'm not sure, but it basically pass the cost along for your revenue requirements beyond that to your higher usage customers. And you can make that difference as much or as little throughout the range of the blocks as you need. And you can do the same with your, not only your residential, but your commercial and wholesale, which we've only got one wholesale customer. But it basically puts all the information in one place and gives you the ability to play with the numbers and get it exactly how you would want it to be. Any other questions, or I'd really like for, you guys to consider it. I'm not sure what it would require on the water department end to restructure the structure. But I would be willing to help on that side as well if need be. I do IT work for a living, and so we need help trying to get this data into a computer model or computer software to make it align with these, this type of structure. I'd certainly be willing to help with that.
I appreciate it. I mean, and I thank you for explaining it.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you listening. Good.
So in your proposal, it's a couple of things that we had on the order that we got. We're supposed to make sure that we had to have a person at 100,000, another one at 50, and another one at 50. So those have to be factored in. It's a couple of things that we have to factor in to make sure there are set numbers that they gave us that we have to start off with, set rates that we have to start off with, so we can qualify for loans and loan forgiveness. So
Yep.
has that been that hasn't been factored into that?
That's not factored in here, but we do have, a look into what the total gross revenue would be. We have a look into what the total revenue required would be without the loans. And then if you add both of the loan payments, and this is, would be yearly payments, your total revenue required with both of those loan payments factored in would be $5.1 million. Your 5% into the R&R account would be $343,000. All of that deducted from your total gross revenue would leave you with a $1.4 million surplus. And so those salaries could or would be deducted from that. And if that's not enough to meet the needs, again, all of these rates completely adjustable. You can adjust any one of these blocks in any way that you need, whether you need to go up or go down, and see the direct impact. So let's say, what are we at up here? Let's change this to 10,000. All right, so with 10,000 gallons usage, let's say we want to change the sewer rate for 9,000 to 15,000 from $10 to $15. You'll see a direct impact on your total gross revenue and your surplus. So you can use this sheet basically to calculate the rates that are needed to meet whatever needs are necessary, while also maintaining a minimal impact on your lower usage customers, say your 4,000 gallon range. So I'm not saying that, the rates that you see here are 100% what we need. Well, I mean, I am saying the 1,000 gallon and then the 1,001 to 4,000 gallon, that's the bare minimum, or, that we can have it at, with like a 50-cent buffer range. But all the rest of them are completely adjustable and can use that to factor in whatever needs you may have beyond what I have figured in this sheet.
I think what I like about this, and I think I'm more in favor, is that everything up to 9,000, I like the way your rates look, because that to me represents me and a bunch of other folks that live in this town, single families, whatever. A lot of us are not going over 9,000, I keep saying dollars, 9,000 gallons. I mean, I could see if we wanted to maybe adjust residential over 15,000, because clearly that might be somebody who's watering, whatevers and pools and all this other stuff. But the average person is not doing all that.
Correct.
And so I would like to see us keep these rates, particularly up to 9,000, as low as we can go to satisfy what we need to do to get loan forgiveness and XYZ. And then if we have to adjust anything, like I said, let's go to the residential above 15,000, whatever, and maybe tweak those.
Right.
But
Well,
that's what we have to
and
do.
you still have your commercial and wholesale that can be tweaked as well. I'm not saying that we should pass all of our burdens along to our commercial customers because we need them for our city to strive, but they do have the ability to pass any additional cost on to their customers as well, whereas our residential customers don't. Any other questions or?
Commend you for the job you've done on that. It looks good. Looks real good.
Thank you.
It's all logical. I know you didn't go to sleep one night, wake up the next morning with all these numbers in your mind. Where'd you get the information to base for all this?
All of the numbers I got from the rate study. So all of the average customers, or the average, or the number of active customers, and the average water usage per customer. I pulled all that from the rate study. Everything, all of the variables, so to speak, I pulled from the rate study, and the formulations for the gross revenue. I use the same, just a basic formula that was used in the rate study, which basically you take your average, take your active customers and the average number of gallons they used, and multiply that by 12, or multiply whatever the rate would be that you have by 12 to get your gross revenue for that customer type, and that whether it be water or sewer or both.
Your numbers balance out and make sense. I'd like to see a comparison, these numbers, to what how we're presently paying right now.
Got them right here. So, which I've made some adjustments on the rates here, but what we've got right now at 10,000 gallons of usage.
Yeah.
Your July rate would have been $68.62.
$68.
That's for water and sewer combined. The August rate, which is the one that's on moratorium currently, would have been $182.61. And with these proposed rates that we have in right now, would be $150 for them combined, correct?
That seems more reasonable. So it jumped from 68 presently paying to 150, basically.
Correct. Still a significant increase, but
It's still high, but I understand.
You still got sanitation fees that
Yeah.
you're not looking at. You still got that.
yeah, that would be part of your bill as well. This is
Oh,
just water and sewer,
I
all
like Ms.
three.
Miller. I don't want to hurt the average person that's using up to $9,000, $10,000,
So let's-
10,000 gallons.
But as we show this right here, that makes people, and you have to still remind people that you still have another charge that's not shown here, because people think, well, I saw this and this is what I believe my bill's gonna be. So we have to make sure they understand that you still have another charge.
Well, this is just water and sewer.
Right?
Water and sewer only.
Correct.
we're talking about,
But
not
Yes.
Sanitation
Yeah,
or anything
but
else.
that's
I
the sanitation
understand.
will be on your bill. So you, instead of it's showing them this, they get to the point and say, well, oh, this is what I calculate. What about the sanitation charge?
The citizens' output's gonna be a little greater than that bottom line there.
On their total bill, correct? Yes. This is just factoring in what we're proposing to change, which is the water and sewer. So everything else would remain the same. You know, their sanitation bill would remain the same. They've got one card or two cards or what have you. You know, the only other thing that would change would be the amount you pay in taxes, because it's on, based on a percentage. So if your bill goes up, your taxes are going to go
What
up.
percent of increase on the average is all of this coming out to be? What?
I had that on here and I wound up removing it. It's somewhere around 70-75%.
Increase.
Yeah. I think it's closer to 70%. Which with the August rate, we were at like a 98%
Yeah,
on average.
this is considerably better.
So
I-
again,
It's a
it's
lot better,
it's
but we've got to
this is with the understanding that there's got to be a rate increase, but with this rate structure, we can go about the rate increase in a way that doesn't impact our more financially strapped citizens.
Yeah.
I would say.
Mr. Cheek here.
Well, I just wanted to say, what's that?
Come to the mic here.
Oh, yeah.
Tell your name.
My name's Robert Cheek. I live here in Helena. A structured rate system like this, it's not without precedent. The city of Fayetteville does their water this way, and Helena, I think, had a structured rate system back in 2008 or something. That was when it was passed in Helena, though. With higher usage, you had lower metered costs. So it was structured the opposite way that this is, with higher usage with higher rates for higher usage. So when it was passed in Helena, it was actually lower rates for higher usage. And there's arguments to be made both ways. But when you look at the high usage customers, a lot of it, what happens is, you see like 400,000 gallons when normally they would use 50 or something like that. What happened was there was a toilet open or a leak somewhere, or there was a water pipe that was broken. And then you end up with kind of a catastrophic bill for whoever that user. Even if they're a normal person, a normal person can have a toilet flap break and their toilet runs all the time. They don't catch it. Then they end up with 80,000 gallons. And then with $16 per 1,000 gallons, you end up with a bill that's like, 1,000, or with 400,000 gallons, you end up with a bill that's like $8,000 or something. So, all told, I think a structured rate system, it can work. It can be a good idea. Certainly, it can be done. But I think it's also simple to understand that water be charged at a flat rate, where whatever rate you're using, a gallon is a gallon, 1,000 gallons is 1,000 gallons. And then that way you don't get a catastrophic bill in a time of crisis,
Thank you.
That's a good point, but I think we also saw with the last rate change that we can see catastrophic changes with a flat linear rate structure as well. And the water department does have a policy to, if you have a leak and wind up with a higher than average bill for a month, to bring that, to make your bill, change your bill to, your average usage, considering that you've made the repair and can show proof of the repair.
It usually 6 months average next to the repair. So whenever you make the repair, the last 6 months. So the longer you wait.
So it's critical to make the repair as soon as you find out.
That's right.
Yeah. So you get the high bill and you're like, oh no, I got to go fix this, and you go fix it immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
You show like 200 or 300,000 gallons, whatever it costs.
In
Commercial setting. Well, the rates are not different for commercial. It's just for me.
Well, the rates are different for commercial. I've got the way they are right now for residential, commercial, and wholesale. So for 200,000 gallons, the way they're set right now, This would be 3,500 for commercial water and 3,600 for commercial sewer, or 7,100 total combined.
What's considered a wholesale establishment? Sorry for a dumb question. What's a wholesale?
We have only one wholesale customer, at Long Lake, which I'm guessing that's tied to Long Lake Farms, maybe Long Lake Plantation.
No, that's a community. That's a Long Lake Water Association.
Oh, okay. Where are they? Off subject anyway. Yeah, we've only got the one wholesale.
How are these rates, compared to, Barton, Water Company rates?
I don't have that answer. I could get with Miss Ford and find out and let you know. And again, with this sheet, all of these rates, every one of these numbers can be adjusted up or down. I shared a copy with everybody, so I mean, if you wanted to, kind of play around with it and see how you can make the numbers come out. But I'll get with Miss Ford and find out, get their rates and rate structure, and I'll get that to you. Anything more?
Nobody has any more questions for Mr. Meadows?
Well, I appreciate you guys, and
Thank you so much.
I'm always free and available. If you have anything further, anything in the future, or anything else I can be of assistance with, let me know.
Yes, sir. We thank you, Mr. Meadows.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Mr. Meadows,
Appreciate you having me.
I thank you for all the energy that you put forth through it as a good citizen doing due diligence, and I appreciate your presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and again, thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Meadows.
Thank you.
While our technician is trying to get something else to show on the screen, let me just give you just a little backdrop for the audience anyway, the people on YouTube and Zoom and all of that. On October the 2nd, I think it was, we met with Chris Colclage and Dennis Sternberg. Chris is with the Arkansas Department of Agriculture, Arkansas Natural Resources Commission, and Dennis is with Arkansas Rural Water. Out of that meeting, we learned several things, and one that was the MHI that we needed to meet, that the median household income, they dropped the number down to $26,779, but we had been using $31,000. They also told us that we needed to raise our sewer rate to meet that MHI along with the water rate in order to qualify for loan forgiveness. And then they also said that there's a meeting coming up in November the 20th or 21st, something like that,
20th.
by which time they thought you needed to have your rates in place. That's been updated. You don't have to necessarily have your rates in place by that meeting, but they do want you to move pretty quickly on getting your rates in place. So out of that meeting, Mr. Sternberg agreed to take some numbers from Mr. Colclage and refactor our rate study.
That's on page 86.
And so Mr. Sternberg did in fact get numbers from Mr. Colclage and that staff, and he submitted what we're calling an amended rate study, but what it amounts to is just two spreadsheets, one for water, one for sewer. And the summation on what he came up with was that your water minimum should be $16.74, which is what you're charging. $16.74 for the first 1,000 gallons. And on the sewer, your first 1,000 gallons should be $13. Then on the water, for each successive 1,000 gallons of water, should be $5.06. You look for option L, Joshua.
Right. For the sake of the council, I believe the chief of staff is pointing out page 86 and 87.
Yeah, 86 and 87 are the two spreadsheets that he sent. And
Page-
basically, what water $16.74 for the first 1,000, $5.06. Water $16.74 for the initial charge, and then $5.06 for per 1,000 gallon charge. And sewer $13, and then $5 for each successive charge after that.
Page 86 was Cyclone.
Okay, what Mr. Monday's pulling up is this rate calculator thing that we prepared. Of course, we copied this from another city and modified it to meet what we do in Helena-West Helena. Right now, of course, it has these various inputs, whether customer class, whether it's commercial, residential, irrigation, or other wholesale, whether it's inside the city limits, the meter size, whether they got city sewer, how much water usage, and city trash, the number of carts and taxes and fees. So if you would just go, Mr. Monday, if you click on commercial, or I may be able to do it. You think I can do it? We're gonna go to residential. It may take a second to change. It changed. And let's do 1,000 gallons. I get it. You gotta bring it up so they can see the numbers. So on 1,000 gallons, your minimum residential charge, the way we got it calculated, is $39.80.
That's for 1,000.
That's for 1,000. And it's showing you here what's used, 1,000. So these rates are gonna come in at what the rate study said do, but they're gonna be significantly lower than what Mr. Meadows has proposed, because we're doing just a flat rate outside of the 16.74. So then I change it to 2,000 gallons, and you'll see how this calculates. It'll take a second to show up over there. $2,000 gallons, $49.86. And we can continue going through this. 3,000 gallons when it switched, $59.92.
Jumps about $10.
4,000 gallons. $69.98. And so that meets that MHI. It's actually a little higher than MHI, but it meets that. And it brings you a degree more solvency than you have right now. And part of what happens right here is that you got a minimum charge and then a per gallon charge. So all your customers are gonna probably pay at a minimum $8 to $10 more a month.
That's 4,000.
That's 4,000 gallons.
Well, Chief of Staff, Mr. Valley, could you look at 9,000 gallons as they have been discussing? Miss Miller has asked about 9,000 gallons.
That's exactly what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, it's gonna pop up there. That is $120.28.
Okay, and that's water only.
No, water is $62.28, sewer is $58, $120 is $28. I don't remember what Mr. Meadows' number was on 9,000.
But in addition to that, they would still have the sanitation rate, which is how much a month?
Yes, sir. If you want to see sanitation, I can put it in here. We just click on the drop menu and switch it to yes. I got one box, and I put taxes, and there it is.
What's that? You said that.
That includes your sanitation at 28.25, and your taxes and your fees.
I'm saying you said that, but what is the number?
That's 9,000 gallons.
What is the bill?
The bill is $158.04, including sanitation and taxes and fees.
What's the bottom line, 150?
158.04. That includes sanitation, taxes, and your water assessment fee of $1.90.
Now, the average usage of the average citizen is what, 5,500?
54.75. But I was gonna go to 200,000 because that's one of the numbers that Mr. Meadows provided. And on his proposal, which I don't have any opposition to his proposal, and of course this got sanitation in it, which I can take out, but it's only $2,180.97. But let me take the sanitation out and the taxes. But I can figure out how to do it. No. And no. All right, so that's gonna take it back to just the raw water charge at, wait a minute, that's not right. The sewer is not high enough to, there.
What's the number?
$2,041.74.
That includes water and sewer for 200,000?
Water and sewer. I hadn't changed the sewer number. I had a generic number. As long as the sewer number is higher than the water, calculate the sewer, right?
Okay.
But it's $2,041.74 at 200,000 gallons of usage, whereas under the other proposal, because it had the $16 per thousand, that's a little less than what we were charging in August. In August, we were charging $17.46 per thousand, and that's how your bills escalated into the amount. And you know, we can have a debate about percentages, but it's not good to use percentage as a gauge of how much the bill goes up, because it depends on how much you use. The more you use, the greater that percentage expands out if the rate is flat. So it's a higher percent. So somebody at 4,000 gallons may have a 70% increase, but somebody at 100,000 gallons may have a 200% increase.
Right.
But your rates are the same, but it's just the way it's multiplying or it's expounding. But anyway, I heard Ms. Miller say she wanted the rates as low as possible in this. And so this structure is lower than Mr. Meadows. I'm fine with you adopting either one of them, but this one is lower in terms of the net charge to your customers. And of course, since you know you got somebody that uses 1 million gallons on the average, we probably ought to put that in there.
Okay, but what you're showing us here is not, or is it, what our customers received in August?
No, this
No.
is based on the last rate study
Last.
set at the minimums that he set, with one minor alteration. That is that we're charging a base charge and then per thousand.
Right.
Yeah.
So for the sake of listening, you're saying it's $16.74 base charge for the smallest residential pipe meter
Correct.
fee, and then it's $5.06 for 0 to 5,000 gallons.
Correct.
Then, but the rate stayed the same. Really, it's from 0 to infinity. It's just $5.06 per gallon for water.
Right. So the rate study recommends you, after your minimum charge, you charge everybody the same $5.06, whether they use 1,000 gallons or 20 million gallons. It's $5.06 per 1,000 gallons. So that number doesn't change according to the rate study. Now, you can't go below the rate study. You can go above it and structure it differently if you decide. And once you are solvent, which will be probably by the time we do the next rate study, then you may be able to tweak some of these numbers if you want to, for example, give a volume user a discount, because by that point you can prove that you can afford it. But right now, the rate study minimum is what you got to do until you're solvent, because you're not solvent.
Right.
Because, and let me say that whether customers understand, we are operating in the red, and until we get in the black, we probably shouldn't do volume discounts until you know where you're going with it. And that's why you got to do those minimum numbers. Now, Mr. Meadows' numbers were higher than minimum except for the beginning. So you adopted his structure. You just had to have your beginning to start at $16.74 water and start at $13 for sewer. But those are the minimums that the rate study recommended. But after that, as long as the rate is above $5.06 or above $5 for sewer, then you can set it however you want.
Right.
Okay, so go back to the 9,000 gallons. I just wanted to look at that one more time.
All right. 9,000. Uh-oh. 9,000. Tab. Give it just a second, it'll be over there. Now that's $120 just water and sewer. Now if you want, I can add these where to calculate the total bill. Total estimated bill. You want
Will
me
you
to
do
that?
so?
That's just water and sewer right there.
Will you calculate a total bill, please?
That's what Ms. Miller asked me to do. That's what I'm doing. I'm showing one card. All right. So there you are. With sanitation at one cart, each extra cart we charge $10 for, which there's no extra cart. The sanitation taxes we charge taxes on water. We do not charge taxes on sewer. And then based on the federal regulation, state regulation, we charge $1.90 fee. Some of that money we send to the health department.
Okay. So what's the total on 9,000 gallons?
On 9,000 gallons, $158.04 under the rate at the minimum set by the new rate study.
Okay.
What is the average amount of water of the average consumer residential?
5,475 gallons.
400 gallons.
Yeah. You want me to put that number in?
Yeah, because you put 5,500 in.
What you said?
5,500.
Oh, 55. Okay.
5,500.
Here it comes. As soon as it makes it over there. There you go.
What's the number?
For 5,500 gallons, includes sanitation, taxes, and fees, $120.97.
That doesn't sound much different.
That's got garbage and everything in it, huh?
Is that 5,000 or 5,500 up there?
It's 5,500.
Okay.
It's starting 5,000 water here and then 500 water and 5,500 sewer. But the fees are the same, so it didn't matter. And then 28.25 sanitation, $2.97 taxes on sanitation, $4.68 taxes on water, and $1.90 in fees for a total of $120.97.
The total bill on that person, on the average person, would be $120, $121.
Yeah, 3 cents shy of 121. Yes, sir.
But that doesn't sound much different from the 9,000 gallon user.
It won't be because it's only be about $20 more because you got 5,500 here, right? You're just charging per 1,000 gallons, so it'll be $10, right, per 1,000, so maybe $40 more. But I can put it in there and you can see it.
Average.
Because each 1,000 gallons it goes up, you're charging $5.06 and $5, so $10.06 every time 1,000 gallons roll over. So if that number was 6,000, that'd be 130, 7,000, 140, 8,000, 150, 9,000, 160.
I guess the concern I have is, say if I'm an elderly person and I'm living by myself and I only use 5,000 gallons. But there's a family of 3 that uses 9,000. Why is it that my bill looks pretty much the same as theirs? That's kind of what it looks like to me.
Right. Well, some of that would be, if I addressed it mathematically, is that your rates are loaded at the front, so it's regressive, in that you got this minimum $16 that everybody's paying, minimum $13 that everybody's paying. And so you won't see a lot of spread between them until they get way out on the usage. So the 9,000 is not materially different than 5,000.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I'm just thinking if I'm a single elderly person and I'm only using 5,000, why does my bill look like a family of 2 or 3? I just don't think that's fair. I think that's, yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but you're looking at her circumstances rather than her usage. So we're just billing by the usage. So if she or he, a single person, is using 5,000 gallons, that's what they're being charged for. And if there's 3 people in there using 5,000 gallons, that's what they're being charged for. Sounds like the 3 people not taking a bath, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying.
But what is
But you know, that's kind of the reality.
right? But part of just what you're saying, Mrs. Miller, when Mr. Stromberg did the rate study, what he's showing is there's a minimum charge of $16.74 for one of the smallest lines, and then regardless of how many gallons you use for water, it's going to be $5.06 per gallon. So if you use 1,000,000 gallons, it's still $5.06 per gallon. If you use 1,000 gallons, it's still going to be $5.06 per gallon. It's going to be a flat rate, and that's the minimum that the rate study. That's why I actually look at page 86 and 87, because that's laid out there with the two spreadsheets that he gave.
But it still should be $30 to $40 different.
Right, that's still $40.
Yeah, still $40 because
Well,
this is
no.
120,
That's
158.
No, you didn't say that. You said I'm taking a bath. Yeah, okay, I understand.
It's 4 times 5.
So I took it down to 5,000 gallons max, and with all the fees in there, at 5,000 gallons instead of 5,500, it's 115. But that 9,000 is 158. Yeah.
$40 more.
Yeah. Because it's $10.06 per thousand as you move up.
Could you also show 3,000 gallons for people who don't use that much water?
No. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I mean, we do have
about 4,000 gallons.
We do have significant number of customers who use less than 2,000 gallons of water, and their circumstances vary. But typically, it's somebody that lives alone. Yeah, they live alone. They got energy efficient toilets that flush 1 liter per flush as opposed to a gallon and all this stuff. You know. So there are people who don't use a lot of water like that. And they take showers instead of baths. That saves a lot of money. Yeah. But as you asked for the 3,000 gallons, including all fees, $94.49.
Oh, okay. So when you leave that, can you go to 20,000 gallons to see a person is using that 20,000 gallons of water? I mean, you know, the bills that we were seeing, so people could see if you're using 20,000 gallons of water, what your bill would come to. So that we see it, so if it happens, we'll know, like, okay, this is what do you got?
It's there. $274.54, including all fees.
So now can we go from 20 to 15,000 gallons? So we can have a comparison. You know, if you're at home of, you know,
15,000 gallons is about to appear. But I got charts like this all out there showing, well, that number, I need to do 1501.
Because see, Ms. Miller, you want to be able to tell you, when people ask you want to be able to tell them, look, this is, you know, we saw this with our eyes. This is not something that somebody's just pulling. That's why I try to give you all enough information. When somebody comes up to y'all from the street saying, hey, I got I use 20,000 gallons. what is, you'll know. I use 15,000 gallons, you'll know. You kind of want to have, because what I've been trained now is to when people get dealing with this chief of staff that we have, I've been trained to see a number, and I can just tell you what your bill may look like. And that's what I want y'all to be, because when people say, well, are y'all, all this is what Rural Water gave us, and I want people to have a clear understanding. Well, they say I use 20,000 gallons, they say I use 15,000. What's the number for 15,000 gallons?
Including sanitation.
Include all the fees.
And fees, $221.57. I say 57 because I got an extra penny up here because I put 1501.
Okay.
But yeah, it made a difference with that.
So when you look at residential customers like the housing authority, what's their usage doing? Like
Housing authority use 200-something thousand gallons.
So let's see what a residential look for 200,000 gallons of water. Let's see the revenue from. Let's see what would happen with that.
That come. But that's not an accurate reflection of theirs because their sanitation is going to be significantly higher.
Right.
So I'll take the sanitation out.
So we need to see stuff. I want y'all to see stuff like this so we'll know. So
So
sanitation
for just water, sewer, it's $2,343. But in August, it probably was $4,500 on the August rate because it was $17 per thousand.
And that's without sanitation fees.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So
Now, these top usage accounts, these are the people that were identified by Mr. Rose and you and all that. And so, not all of them, but it looks like some of these people are single.
Yes. So that's just a raw report. I asked Miss Randall, Jackie, to pull a report for everybody using over 40,000 gallons. And that's just what that is. And she got it in reverse order in terms of the high user to the low user. So we weren't looking for any particular person. That's why I was surprised a few of those residential people popped up on there. But that's what those reports reflect.
So have we met with some of the people that had those crazy bills and we talked to them and
We've met with some of them. Typically, though, most of them had high usage and said they didn't have a leak. But I believe some of them had toilet leaks or something. Because it's, all we can do is go by what the meter says. And kind of like we went to the house that had a sprinkler system. Their meter went to zero usage from like 8 in the morning to about 5 in the evening. And then it kicked up for 3-4 hours to about 9 at night. And then it went down to nothing. And then about 5 or 6 in the morning, it kicked up to about 8 or 9 in the morning. But it kept going to zero usage. So they was right. If it goes to zero usage, you don't have a leak. But you're using the water. But they had a sprinkler system. And so what they needed to do is get an irrigation system where they would pay only water. No sewer, no sanitation or any of that. They just paid just for the water. Yeah, because you got some people with sprinkler systems who don't care. They run them in the rain. I mean, I passed by several houses, the sprinkler system on, it's raining, pouring down. When Hurricane Helene came through. Yeah, but we did address some of them. Some of them we haven't been able to. What some of those people had done is gotten accustomed to paying a higher water bill than other people paid, but it was something they could tolerate. But when you change the rate, they're saying, well, it's too much. But the usage has been 20,000 gallons all along. So the usage didn't change. It's just the rate changed. And what we're suggesting is, especially, there was one lady, she didn't come to the meeting, but she came to the water company. She had 25,000 gallons of usage, but she always had that amount. And she said she didn't have a leak. So I don't know how that got resolved. I hadn't checked on it lately, but once these rates are passed, I guess I hear from her again. But, we can't solve all the problems because we can only fix on the street side of the meter. So if it's not like, Mr. Rose described a few of them, they had a leak. It was on the street side, but it was going through the meter, so they're being charged. We went out and addressed those, either changed the fittings, changed the meter, or did something on those. One of them was the pawn shop, for example. We changed out a whole meter for him. Now, I don't know. I don't know if it's been a month yet, so I don't know how that fully worked out, but we changed out a meter. He had a pipe that broke. We went on and replaced it too, although it was on his side because our guys did the work. typically they say, look, if we go in here and we do this work, something breaks, it's kind of on you. But we fixed that just for peacekeeping's sake. Yeah, and it wasn't very difficult to fix either.
So what we're gonna do is 8 o'clock.
What Joe says, 8 o'clock.
He says 8 o'clock.
So how long do we have to actually get this ironed out as
Well-
far as determining what the rates will be?
You all have a self-imposed deadline on November 1st. And so your ordinance, yeah, your ordinance expires, the rates goes back up to August. So you gotta either pass your new rates or pass a new extension.
Man, I would like to address it as soon as possible. Be done with it. I have enjoyed the discussion. Though I see there's really a philosophical difference in, do you tax people more who use more, or do you just make it the same rate for everybody? Which is the difference in, for example, what Mr. Chief was saying, and what Mr. Meadows was saying. But the safe zone for me is always rate study. This is what they say we need to do. And so, but I guess we need to figure out which one we're gonna go with. I would like us to just adopt it and move on next time. But, and I don't mean tonight, we can set a special meeting because we need an ordinance to do it. I didn't see all of this stuff.
Yes. Right. That's why we did all that work. But there's an ordinance in there, and certainly no pressure from me. Y'all got enough pressure you have to put on yourself. But there's an ordinance in there that says essentially you're gonna top the rates on this schedule, and you attach that schedule to it. There's a proposed schedule in there, but you can certainly change that.
And the schedule is the one that was presented, as amended by Rural Water.
Right.
After the meeting with Mr. Sternberg and Ms. Cole.
It's on page 90 or so in this packet, and basically what it says is those charges you got based on meter for the initial charge, $16.74 on down through the 8-inch meter charge, whatever that is, and then $5.06 for every 1,000 gallons of water, and then it's 13 on sewer and 5 for every 1,000 gallons.
I don't know, my suggestion would be, my question would be, how long do you need to take into consideration the amended rate study by Rural Water? And if you want to take into consideration the things that have been presented by Mr. Meadows, everybody wants to look over this, you understand what you're doing, and then make a educated determination as to how you want to do it.
And Mr. Meadows has provided his spreadsheet, his contact information, and all of that if you all want to reach out to him later.
May I make a suggestion? You're not gonna meet 2 weeks from now, because that's gonna be election day. So if you can meet.
November 1st is before the election.
Huh?
Our deadline is November 1st.
I know, but I'm saying the business you would take care on that day, why don't you do next Tuesday? Because election day, we're not gonna meet.
What's next Tuesday?
The 29th?
29.
Oh, okay.
I think it just made up the date. So and that's fine. We have one ordinance that takes into consideration the amended rates from Rural Water and Mr. Copeland, the natural resources. If somebody else wants another ordinance and want to get with the city attorney and ask him to prepare it, or if not, we just go with what's presented or what he.
Well, what I recommend is you adopt what the rate study says, because the issue is this: anything else is going to be more than what the rate study says, and the rate study, the law is we have to adopt the minimum. I think you need to study it to be familiar with it. But anything else, I appreciate what Mr. Meadows did. I appreciate what Chief of Staff has done. But both of those are much higher than what the rate study is. And I think your partners just look at the rate study it, be familiar with it. And the issue, as you read it and look at probably from pages 85 to 90, 92, 93 of your packet, you'll see that it's just a standard rate at all levels, regardless of usage, water and sewer. And so while that may be regressive, it may cause other people to who use less water to pay more. I mean, that's what the rate study is. And we have to adopt the minimum what the rate study is.
I don't mean to cut you off, but we do need one other thing. When I spoke with Mr. Cole Glazier, one of the things that he mentioned you could do, since you've applied for the $11 million loan and it's been approved, but you're being considered for the $16 million loan that has not yet been approved. But if it is approved, it may qualify for some forgiveness, right? He said that you can de-obligate the $11 million and only go for the $16 million. He said you practically guaranteed to get the loan. It's just a matter of how much forgiveness you get for it. And that's something the city council ought to consider at the next meeting or the meeting before we go. We need to let them know before the 20th so that committee, when they're meeting, know what we're going to do.
Yeah, I like that idea because the 11 could only be used on water, but the 16 can be used on water and sewer. And it's
Right.
forgivable.
Well, and we need to get the specifics.
Well, they was,
We need to get to the specifics of the application to see how we're boxed in on that. Must have asked them. We need to get the specifics on the application to make sure we understand how we boxed in on the 16. But you're right. There was some for water, some for sewer.
So
Is the 29th a good day for everyone?
The 29th? Is the 29th a good day
oh, it is.
for me?
Now, on the 29th, we're gonna do that in lieu of the 5th,
Yes.
or we're just gonna do a limited water. That's in lieu of the 5th.
The 29th, next Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't think we were the 15th or the 5th.
Huh?
You said the 15th or the 5th?
In lieu of the 5th.
Yeah, I don't think we were meeting the 5th. Didn't we
The
already
5th
pass?
the 5th is election day.
I think we'd already passed. We weren't gonna meet on the 5th, didn't we?
We got what?
Didn't we already pass? Oh, okay, I thought we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The 29th is in lieu of the 5th, or we're gonna move the 5th to another date and do the 29th. That's the question. Because what I'm trying to do is see what you want on your agenda. If it's a regular meeting, you need all that stuff.
I would really like to have.
Just water. Yeah,
Is that
that's
good?
that's what I'm inquiring.
Okay.
I was saying Lou.
Yeah, most of that's water. Yeah,
And I hope we provided you all with enough information. I think so you all can have just a clear understanding of what we're trying to do. There's nothing hidden. I think it's like the songwriter said, everything's out in the open.
yeah.
Ain't nothing that's hide.
We hope that the pagination and all of that helps. We certainly trying to get you as much information as we can. We depend on others to get us the information in order to get it to you. But we certainly thank Mr. Meadows. He got his in sufficient time for us to share it with you and put it in the packet, and we appreciate that. And that was, Mr. Meadows said he'd like to make one more comment. Why did you need to say? Because you listed on the agenda. Oh, he gonna take some offline. Come on.
Just real quick, it's important to note that my proposal is more about the rate structure change and not the rates that I had in there. Those rates are adjustable. I just am proposing the rate structure change and providing a tool for you all to be able to play around with the numbers as you see fit and see a direct impact as you do so on each customer type's water usage, what they would be billed for. And also the direct impact on the total gross revenue as you do that. So just want to make that.
Again, we appreciate
Appreciate you.
you, and we appreciate citizens taking a great interest in this issue.
Now, we have Mr. Rich Wyan, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, but he doesn't want to present to you all. His name was in the agenda. He didn't submit anything, but he's here and he wants to talk to some of y'all offline.
We have Helena Strategy Water Meeting on October 30th from 9 a.m. to 2. Malik Barnes, Executive Director of Americans for Action, they're having a thing that he gave this to give to the city council. Wants to ask you all to be involved in this on the 30th from 9 to 2. Lunch will be provided. Here's a list of attendees. So he wants you all to attend and see how can we work together with these organizations to help have a better water system. So he couldn't deliver tonight, so he asked me. So there it is.
Ms. St. Columbia?
I don't think I have
Is there
anything.
anything else for anybody else?
Mr. St. Columbia?
Mr. St. Columbia? He stopped reading everything on that one.